heading east to Whitechapel. It was hard work down here, but we all thought we were part of something important. There was enormous team spirit. We seemed to get ourselves in the news a lot in the 90s. It didn't hurt that Bruce Willis made a film down here called Hudson Hawk. In the 80s, we had our 60th anniversary. Along with that, we had a new brand and finally some new trains. I'll tell you two things that sum up the 70s. Postcodes made life a lot easier, and strikes made life not so easy.
There was no postcodes before?
I guess so.
Wow.
The swinging 60s. Those World Cup stamps sold out after England won. There were a few celebrations down here that summer. In the 50s, air travel became much more common, and so did airmail, and that meant even more of it travelled along mail rail.
The Blitz.
The railway was bombed several times. This station suffered the most damage when it was hit in 1943. Amazingly, the railway was back up and running the very next day. That reflected how vital the railway had become.
We're moving. On the other side is one of the now, oh there you can see it, now deserted platforms. Okay, well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out where we are. Oh, I don't know.
Leads to Liverpool Street Station, where mail was transferred to the main railway network. Further down that tunnel, it looks like a maintenance crew is checking the flood barriers.
This side's good. What's that like?
Big heavy steel doors that close it off.
During the railway's construction, 10 men scrambled to safety when the nearby River Fleet broke into where they were digging. The barriers here were installed later, after the war, but they'd never had to be used.
Ray, there's something else here that people might be interested in. Can you tell us about that?
When we move off just up ahead, look down towards the track. You might catch a glimpse of the train graveyard where disused trains are stored. I must have worked on all of them at some time or other.
Must have done a bad job then if they're now disused. No, that's not fair. Sorry, just trying to be humorous. Woman drivers. subscribers heard you.
Don't worry, everybody. Just a power cut. Ray, can you explain?
Power cuts happen from time to time when the railway was operational. We could draw power from the next station along to keep everything running. And of course, us guys in the engineering teams always kept the trains and track in good order.
Okay, on we go. Now, let's go a bit further back, to the early days in the 1930s. Then there was no email, texting, or instant messaging. People relied on the mail much more than today, especially at Christmas. So there was a lot to move. Trainloads of mail arrived at every station, every few minutes, with less than 60 seconds to unload and reload. Let's follow a few of those letters. This is the Colonel. He's writing to the BBC. This is Kathleen. She's keeping in touch with her sweetheart in the Navy. And this is Mary. Her letter is very special because it's going to ho ho ho
Santa Claus.
Father Christmas.
Darling bird, I can't tell you how sad I am that you're not coming home for Christmas. That maybe has a lot to answer for. I've a good mind to go to the Admiralty office and give them what for.
To the Director General, British Broadcasting Corporation, I have recently purchased a television apparatus and feel compelled to inquire as to whether you are planning to broadcast moving pictures of the King's speech on Christmas Day.
Dear Father Christmas, it's me again, Mary Reardon. I wrote to you last year, if you remember. I asked for a puppy, but you bought me a doll's house instead. But I do still really want a puppy.
I used to do that. Well, just for Christmas. A few weeks into Christmas a few years ago.
Here we go again. Where's first? Coming through.
On that blooming cat!
That's a pattern to the Atlantic. Early 2015.
It's coming!
What are you getting away from
Must go now, or I shall be late for work. Take good care of yourself, Bert, my love. And Merry Christmas, my darling. Kathleen.
I look forward to your response with keen anticipation. Yours sincerely, Colonel Arthur Bingley Crouch, retired.
Perhaps this year will be a bumpy year for puppies. I hope so. If there are any spare ones, I will be very grateful for one. Wishing you a very happy Christmas. Mary Reardon.
So those three letters travelled along mail rail and got delivered quickly and safely.
You could say that mail rail was the beating heart of the British postal system.
so, my love. I think so. Are you scared?
No, I'm with you. And there was a child who wanted to be in front and we gave him our spot in the queue.
Although if you're ever going to come on this, in a way it doesn't matter if you are at the front, because in front of you, you have the driver. So even if you're in the front carriage, you've got the driver in front of you. And even if you're in the back carriage, you've got where the driver would sit with all the controls, or the driver is there. Because at either end there's like if you like, an engine where a driver would sit.
I hope you've enjoyed your tour of London's hidden postal railway.
Oh.
It was unique, and I love being part of the great team keeping the railway running.
We hope you'll enjoy exploring the rest of the exhibition just as much.
When did
Goodbye,
we do the move?
and Merry Christmas.
Goodbye and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, subscribers.
Anyway, so in a way you're better off sitting at the back and not the front. You know, the very back and not the very front, if you do have a choice. There's only 8 carriages.